Alright, good day class. This is Isaac Humanitarian Foundation e-learning platform. Yes, this e-learning platform is brought to us by Isaac Humanitarian Foundation. Yes, a body that helps students to provide solutions to their academic challenges. Now, I am your host for today, your English language instructor. I am Mr. Kayode Olugbola, your English language instructor for today's class. And the specific topic we want to discuss in today's class is sentence interpretation. Sentence interpretation. Now, what is sentence interpretation? If you check your WAEC examination, your WAEC questions, you see from question 16 to 35, they always test sentence interpretation. Also, if you look at your JAMB questions, the format from question 26 to 35 as well, before it was changed to 60 question now, we usually have sentence interpretation. And if you look at the various past questions of different schools, you also find that an important aspect of English language that is being tested as examination is sentence interpretation. Now, what is sentence interpretation? It is an aspect of English where we consider the structure. Number one, we consider the structure. 2, clause formation. And 3, choice of words. Choice of words. To determine the overall meaning of a sentence. I repeat, sentence interpretation is an aspect of English language where we get the overall meaning of a sentence by considering the structure of the sentence. 2, the clause formation. Then 3, the choice of words used by the speaker. When you give consideration to the structure of a sentence, the clause formation, and the choice of words used by the speaker, so as to determine the overall meaning of a sentence, what you are doing is called sentence interpretation. So we can interpret a sentence based on those 3 levels. 1, through the structure of the sentence. 2 is by considering the structure of the clauses in terms of their formation. Then 3 is we also consider the meaning of the sentence. How? By looking at the choice of words used by the speaker to express the grammatical meaning. So let's see the first instance. The first instance, number 1, when but comes immediately, when but comes immediately after all. When but comes immediately after all in a sentence, a plural verb is used. A plural verb is used while the meaning is that all are involved in the action except the one being mentioned. This is one way of answering sentence interpretation, particularly questions on them. Rule 1, I said, when but comes immediately after all. In the same sentence, a plural verb is used. Why? The meaning of the sentence is that all are involved in the action except the one being mentioned. Meaning, you will use all against verb. You will use all to interpret what? The verb. Then any number being mentioned in the question becomes what? The exception. Now let's see an example. If I have all but Shade have seen the result. All but Shade have seen the result. This is a question. Now, to interpret this, as I have said in my explanation, we consider the structure, we consider the clause formation, we consider the choice of words used by what? The speaker, to determine the overall meaning of the sentence. That is what we call sentence word interpretation. Now let's see this. I said when but comes immediately after all, a plural verb is used. Can you see? A plural verb is used. Then the meaning of the sentence is that all are involved in the action except the one being mentioned. So what I want to do is that you will use all to interpret the verb. That's the meaning. So now the word, look at me. All have seen the result. All have seen the result. So the only person who has not seen the result is the person being mentioned. That's the meaning. That is so-called sentence interpretation. So all have seen the result except to Shade. That's the meaning. Also, if I write all but Shade haven't seen the result. All but Shade haven't seen the result. Now, the interpretation of this is the word. All haven't seen. All have not seen. All have not seen the result except to Shade. So it is only Shade that has seen the result. Only Shade has seen the result. Others have not seen. Here, all have seen. Shade has not seen. Here, all have not seen. Only Shade has what? Has seen. So I will now give you a direct question from what? From jump past to now. So we have that as what? As an interpretation. Let's see this now. Look at this. I have all but two teachers. All but two teachers weren't denied promotion. All but two teachers weren't denied promotion. Option A, only two teachers were promoted. Option B, only two teachers weren't promoted. Option C, all the teachers weren't promoted. Then option D, all the teachers were promoted. Can you see this option? Sentence interpretation is a complex aspect in English, but with this explanation, it becomes what? Simple. That is why you all should be grateful to Isaac Humanitarian Foundation for organizing this e-learning platform to do what? To provide solution to what? Our different or various challenges that we have, as well as what? The use of English language is concerned. Look at this. All but two teachers weren't denied promotion. After you use structure, formation, and choice of words to interpret this. Now let's check. Use all against the verb. Use all to interpret the verb. So what do you do? It's going to be all with the verb. So this will be all weren't denied promotion. All weren't denied promotion except what? 2. Meaning only 2 teachers were not promoted. That's the answer. All weren't denied promotion except 2. So these 2 were not promoted. Others were promoted. That's the answer. So this means A, only 2 teachers were promoted. B, only 2 teachers weren't promoted. C, all the teachers weren't promoted. D, all the teachers were promoted. You can see that all weren't denied promotion, meaning they were all promoted except 2. So only 2 were not promoted. That would be our answer. Only 2 teachers weren't promoted. That's option B. So B is our right answer in this instance. That is the first instance of what? Sentence interpretation. Another instance, when used to describes an action, it shows past event. When used to describes an action, it shows what? Past event, or it shows what? An action in the past. It shows an action in the past. Take note that no longer what occurs. When used to describes an action, it shows what? Past event that no longer what occurs. It shows an action in the past that no longer occurs. Example 1. Let's look at this example. I used to eat rice suddenly. I used to eat rice suddenly. Then option A, I regularly eat rice. B, I rarely eat rice. C, I rarely ate rice. D, I often ate rice. Look at this tricky example. It said the instruction. When used to describes an action. When used to describes an action, it shows what? Past event, meaning an action in the past that no longer what occurs. The action no longer occurs. That's the meaning. So I have this. I used to eat rice suddenly. That used to what? Shows past. And suddenly means what? Rare. Very rare. It doesn't occur often. It does not what? Occur often. That's the meaning of suddenly. So this is what? This will be rarely. And this one is what? Past. With what? Rarely. Now check. I regularly eat. Can you see eat? Present tense. That will be an error. I rarely. This one is correct. Eat. This is correct. But this one is an error. Why? It's what? It's in present form. Error. Check. Rarely, correct. Ate. Rarely and past. That's correct. Rarely is correct. Ate. Past. That's correct. That's what D. Ate is correct. But often means regular. Whereas the one is what is not regular. So this one is an error. Option D is an error. The right answer is what? I rarely what? Ate rice. Take note. That's the second instance of what? Sentence interpretation. Alright, another instance of sentence interpretation is when you have this word needn't or didn't need. Yes, very complex expression. Look at this. Needn't or didn't need. When you use needn't or didn't need in a sentence, the meaning is that the action is not necessary, but you perform it. Therefore, you regret over its what? Performance. Note, I repeat, when needn't or didn't need is used in a sentence, it shows an action that is not necessary. The action is not necessary, but then the action is performed. The action is not necessary, but it is what? Performed. And the result of the performance is a word. There is a word, regret. Needn't or didn't need being used to express an action will show an action that is not necessary, but it is performed. Therefore, the results of the performance of that unnecessary action are what? There will be what? A regret. All these are what? Are in your past questions. Let's see. Example 1. The action is not necessary, but it is performed, and therefore there's what? A regret for its performance. Example 1, under it, if I say, I needn't have told Ade not to go. I needn't have told Ade not to go. This means option A. Option A, I didn't tell Ade not to go. Option B, I told Ade to go. Option C, I regret telling Ade not to go. Then option D is I regret telling Ade to go. Here, you have to be very careful because the structure determines the meaning. That's why I said that sentence interpretation is done through adequate word consideration of the word, the structure of the sentence, the formation of clauses in it, and the choice of words used by what? By the speaker to convey what? The overall meaning is being what? Expressed. Now look at this. I didn't have told Ade not to go. As I have explained, needn't or didn't need means an action that is not necessary, but then it is performed. Therefore, you regret over its what? Performance. The action is not compulsory or necessary, but you went ahead and performed it, and therefore there will be what? A regret over its performance. Now let's check. I didn't have told Ade not to go. Meaning what? It is not necessary to tell Ade. It is not necessary to tell Ade not to go. But I went ahead and told him not to go. Therefore, I regret telling Ade not to go. That will be our answer. Option A. I did not tell Ade not to go. That's wrong. I told Ade to go. That is wrong. I regret telling Ade not to go. That is correct. D. I regret telling Ade to go. Answer is what? I regret telling Ade not to go. One more time. I didn't have told Ade not to go will be interpreted in this way. It means it is not necessary to tell Ade not to go, but then I told him not to go. Therefore, I am regretting my action for telling Ade not to go. I am regretting my action for telling Ade not to go. That is what the interpretation of what this sentence. Look at another example. That for qualification. I have Kunle didn't need to eat the food. Kunle didn't need to eat the food. This means it wasn't necessary. After this, when didn't need or needn't is used, it shows an action that is not necessary, but that action is performed. The action is not necessary, but you went ahead and performed it. That's the meaning of didn't need or needn't. Now check. It wasn't necessary and he didn't eat the food. That's wrong. It was necessary, no, but he didn't eat the food. That's wrong. See, it was necessary, no, and he ate the food. No, that's wrong. It wasn't necessary, but he ate the food. Now look up. Kunle didn't need to eat the food. This will be, it was not necessary to eat the food, but he went ahead and ate the food. Therefore, there will be a regret for what? Eating that word, food. That is the third aspect of what? Sentence interpretation. Another aspect is this. Let's look at the fourth aspect of sentence interpretation. If you have a sentence, when a sentence has double negation, or double negative words, when you have two negative words, when you have two negative words in the sentence, the two negative words will cancel out to give the expression a positive meaning. When a sentence has two words that are both negative, the two negative words will cancel out, and then the expression will now what? Assume a positive meaning. Look at this. If I say, I have never been unhappy in my life. I have never been unhappy in my life. I have never been unhappy in my life. This is an expression with what? Double negation or two negative words. And the two negative words are what? Never and what? Unhappy. So what will happen in this was that the two negative words will cancel out, and then the expression now what? Assume a positive meaning. How? Never will go in that instance. Also, this one is a negative adjective. That negation there will go. That's UN. So what is left is what? I have been happy. So if I have never been unhappy in my life, they ask you, this means, what's the meaning? I have been happy. Now let's look at examples in your past question now. Look at this. The man denied not being present. The man denied not being present. This means the man denied not being present. This means that the man A claimed he was present. B claimed being absent. C, the man never claimed being present. Then D, the man admitted his absence. Look at these options. The man denied not being present. This means that A, the man claimed he was present. C, the man claimed being absent. C, the man never claimed being present. D, the man admitted his absence. Now let's check. This is an expression with what? Two negative words. So we call it what? Double negation. Where you have double negation in the sentence and the two negative words are what? denied and what? Not. So the two will change. The two will cancel out. Not will go. Then denied that has negative meaning will now change to what? A positive meaning, which is what? Admitted or claimed. Admitted or claimed. So what do you have left now? What do you have left? The man claimed being present. The man claimed being present. Now let's check. The man claimed he was present. That's correct. B. The man claimed being absent. No. The man never claimed being present. No. The man admitted he was absent. No. That's what? The man claimed or admitted he was what? Present. That's the correct one. And the last aspect I want to discuss under sentence interpretation is when you have this expression. Whoever would have thought. Yes, this came out in JAMB examination often. When a sentence is formed through this expression, whoever would have thought, the clause after it, the clause here, the clause after it determines the meaning. The clause after whoever would have thought determines the meaning. If the clause here is positive, the interpretation is that what? Negative is expected, but it is that positive that occurs. Also, if the clause after this is negative, the meaning is that what? Positive is expected, but it is what? That negative that occurs. Look at this. If I say, whoever would have thought he would pass the exam. Then option A, he passed as expected by all. B, he passed to the surprise of all. C, he failed as expected by all. D, he failed to the surprise of all. As I've said, the clause after it determines the meaning. If the clause is positive, it means that negative is expected, but positive occurs. If the clause here is negative, meaning positive is expected, but is that what? Negative that occurs. So what you need is what? Go and check the clause after the expression. What is the clause? He would pass his exam. That's the clause. Now check. Positive or negative? He would pass the exam. That's positive. This one is positive. Meaning, people expect negative, that is to fail. People expecting to fail, but he passed. That's the meaning. People expecting to fail, but he passed. People expecting to fail, but he passed. So it's that one. He passed to the surprise of everyone. Why? Because they wanted him to fail, but he what? He passed surprisingly. So A, he passed as expected. No. B, he passed to the surprise of all. That's the answer. So that brings us to the end of today's class. Thank you all for listening. Good day to you all once again.